good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our weekly meeting, Spiritism at Noon. We are, as always we say, we are recording our meetings. In case you don't feel comfortable, please just remove your screen and name, and so we can start. Let me share my screen with you. Open everything that I have to open here in order to be ready for us to start. Just one thing. Oops, sorry. Why is it? Okay. It's not okay. All right. So we are studying the book by Joanna de Angelis, right? Is the book Alert. We are in lesson 37 already, so we cover more than half of the book. And today the lesson is, remember that the book is not yet published, and we still are working on the translation. Okay. And thanks to Andrea and Philip that have been helping us here with all the revisions, etc. So let's start with our lesson today, Indirect Stimuli. Tackle the virus of unwillingness through positive action, without much consideration for the perturbing factors of those who are contaminated by it. Cheerfully face the consequences of your felicitous decision to serve goodness without conceding interviews or justifications for your activities to those who are idle and always conflicted. Imprint tranquility in your tasks, even if the winds of opposition are blowing around you. Close your ears to the slander so habitual of the frivolous who are hostile towards those who promote dignifying activities. So here, the first paragraphs of Joanna de Angelis in each and every lesson are always very hard for us to try to imagine where she will go from there, right? So she lets us remember that she's talking about the indirect stimuli that we all need. So she is basically here trying to tell the workers of goodwill, and pay attention that when we are talking about workers of goodwill, we are not talking about anyone that is perfect or that has been so throughout their lives. We are not talking about those that spend 16 hours of their days only doing good deeds. We are talking about common, average, ordinary people like ourselves, that we do the best that we can whenever the situation presents themselves, or even when they do not present themselves, some of us will actually go after that. So she's telling us, if you are one of those people that have already awakened to good, to goodness, do not let the influence, the judgment, the judging, right, of others to impact your determination. You don't have to justify your actions to anyone, right? This is always has been between us and God. There is no intermediary. All our lives have always been between us and God. So this is what we have to have in mind. And always remembering that whether we act for good or for bad, there will always be people that will be in disagreement with us. If we are working for bad, you know, bad deeds, there will be those that will come and say, you shouldn't do that. Those that will say, oh, I like this way of being. I'm going to join you. And also on the other way around, if we are too good, there is always going to be people that will come and say, oh, you're a silly person. What is the point of, doing good if look at the world, look how other people behave. And so she is telling us here, close your ears. Do not pay attention to anyone that wants to remove you from promoting dignifying activities. And truth be told, it is already very difficult for us to do that, right? It's not that we are doing that all the time, every day of our lives, every opportunity. So if we are going to be paying attention to criticism when we are doing good, then we will be in trouble. So this is basically what she's trying to do here to settle this, conversation on this first paragraphs. Questions, comments? Nope. So you're curious to know where she's going from there, right? Okay, let's go another one and then we're going to stop, okay? There will always be someone to oppose. Through the path, we'll also encounter those who are against themselves. Don't mind them. The senseless, who are always a pernicious presence, are easy instruments of flattery or the guerrilla off stage. Let me see. Um, Dedicate yourself to the continuation of your moral transformation. It's interesting how she puts things here. There are people that are always against something, they're never happy. They always will have some criticism. If it's raining, it's because it's raining. If it's sunny, it's because it's sunny. If it's cold, it's because it's cold. If it's warm, it's because it's warm, and so on, right? They do that even to the detriment of their uh, own goodness sometimes. They are the ones that somehow even sabotage themselves in the pursuit of doing goodness. So she's saying here, don't mind them. There are people that are just like this, and we should not be influenced by their way of being. People that are always going to be promoting circumstances that can get in the way in terms of, um, even malice, gossiping. So Joanna de Angelis is saying, basically she's telling us here, those are signs of imperfection, of illness of the soul, because imperfections are illness of the soul. We should not be focusing on that. Again, don't mind them and keep on going. I always like to remember that saying that we have, that misery loves company, right? Or misery loves, yeah. So, sorry, there is one microphone here open. Okay. are like this, in order to justify their active movement changing for the better, they want to impact us not to move forward as well. If they see everyone moving forward around them, you mean they have no more excuses to remain the way they are. So that's what she's kind of telling us here. If you're looking for a model, someone to follow, it is not them. It is not those that keep on, provoking dissension, that keep on, trying to dismay you, trying to condemn your good actions. Even if somehow it's not with the intent necessarily of directly harm you, but just bringing more people to their way of thinking. Okay. Questions, comments?
I believe this applies in all area in our life, and it's not easy to identify what the really person around us, the people around us, because the spirits, the bad spirits or the bad influence the people around us. Then now I'm 59 years old, and I spend long time to clear know about things and can see, because in the past I was blind so many times. Then I was like an easy target in this situation and could not be able to see and really believe the people around me are telling me, oh, why you are in this way, not the other way? Why you spend your time for this? And then when she started to describe this, I really come back my life and see, wow, so many times I saw myself in this situation, and then this is real.
And yeah, that's so complicated, right, Sonia?
Because it's not the people far from us to make things track in our life, but the people around us, close to us. And that's it.
Yeah. Orlando, Joanna de Angelis is saying nothing here against researching or trying to understand mystery. Okay, and that's what we are always trying to do, to understand the mystery of life, the mystery of creation. So, and here, I mean, we are talking about, finding out about the mystery of behaviors. Why do we behave like that? Uh, why do we have to be so negative? Or, and worst of all, not only like she says here, there are people that are so negative that they work against themselves. But here, we're not only sometimes working against ourselves, but we are trying to meddle where we have nothing to do with, which is, to talk about other people's lives or other people's choices. We should really mind our own business, always with an aim. In our case, our aim is, is to start learning what can lead us, what can help us to have more peace of mind. And we don't have to be religious, spiritual to go there. Nowadays, I mean, the science, the psychologists, and the doctors in general talks about us, how much negative emotions impact in our health state, not only in our mood, because of course, it's going to impact in how we emotionally present ourselves, but even in terms of how physically we are going to be feeling. So that's very important for us here. I mean, it's because she's addressing a different case here. She's more addressing, like, listen, it has been so long, that you have been trying to be good, to do good. Finally, when you are starting in this path, do not be discouraged by, people that still are not there and will try to criticize you. So she's going more today on this path, but she could be telling us as well, not only that, but every time that you embrace negativity, you are impacting your spiritual, emotional, and physical health. It's not the topic of today, but we could include that here as well. Okay, any other comment or questions that you might
But
have?
but
Yes.
anyway, it's always our responsibility to behave in the right way.
Mm-hmm.
If there are many people, gossips, and again, and try to influence you in the different way, it's your own responsibility to be strong enough to make your right choice.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And you see, I was thinking in terms of choices, I was thinking of Peter, the apostle, denying Jesus 3 times when Jesus was taken. If even after Jesus told him, before the the rooster sings in the morning, you will deny me 3 times. Said, "Oh, like you're crazy. I'm never going to do that." Well, he did. So he used it, like you said, Sonia, his free will, due to the impact of the circumstances. And many times we will do that. But when we act in the wrong, what happened next? He was overtaken by regret, by guilt, to the point that after that he was completely 100% dedicated to the dissemination of the message, and to the point of when he was going to be condemned and crucified, and they wanted to crucify him like Jesus, he said, no, don't do that. I do not deserve to die like my master. At least put my cross upside down. Right? I mean, everything is, like you said, is the result of our free will, of our choices. The thing here is, every time we choose in the error, it is going to provoke an impact on us. Especially, the more we grow spiritually speaking. Before, we could be more indifferent, but now it's very hard. Let's see what else she continues here. No harm can be done to one if they are not synchronized within the lane of iniquity. All individuals who promote imbalance in stimulating the inglorious battle accumulate tempestuous auras above their heads, foreshadowing future disasters. This is very important, she's saying here. Two things in terms of us. We can meet people that have this, very shadowy aura, but we don't need to be impacted by them. Whether we are going to be impacted by them, their behaviors, their emotions is up to us. It's like you said, Sonia, it's my choice to attune with the kind of emotions, like someone when a family member arrives, you're having a very peaceful and calm day. A family member, a friend arrives at your home completely out of it, trying to drag you into their own mind stage. You don't need to go there. If you go there, you should blame yourself, not them saying, I was all in peace and you came to take my peace of mind. Well, you allowed them to take your peace of mind. I know it is not what we want to hear. Again, we always want to blame others, but it's up to us. I can just refuse and say, I do not accept the gift of imbalance, right? So here, but there is no way we do not transpire what goes in our inner self. I mean, we can even have a smile on our faces, the appearance that everything is calm and well, but we cannot hide the energy that we are emanating due to our inner dispositions. And here is what she's saying: do not go there. Do not allow you to be enveloped by this negative energy. Comments, questions? Okay, let's go another one. Have the courage to be with them, but not infecting yourself with their ills and flaws. Fulfill yourself with usefulness by all means, so you do not become discouraged in constant contact with such companions, spoke people, or misfortune and irresponsibility. Yours is the duty to spread hope and values of peace. Those are excellent, you know, guidance that she's giving us here. She's not even saying that, avoid their company, because she's being charitable. She's just saying, do not let them drag you into their hole, but go there and try to remove them from this hole that they have built from themselves. And sometimes, which is very understandable, because our nature is still one that is not yet there, right? We want to be there, we want to get better, but we are much more familiar with our negative behaviors, emotions, with our pessimism, with a shadowy life, with staying in the hole. So it would be easier for us still to just get in the hole with them. It is familiar, it can even be cozy. It was very hard. It took us a lot of effort to remove ourselves from the hole. And now, not only we have to maintain ourselves out of it, but she's saying, do something about the others that are there as well. And some of them, you are the ones that put them there, right? So one more reason for us not to turn our backs on them. And you know, this thing that we have always of saying or trying to justify our misdeeds, saying, but everyone else is doing that. Okay, it may not be that good, but everyone is doing that. So here is my justification. She's saying yours is the duty of spreading hope and values of peace. Let's take for instance, this time that we are living in. Everybody is you know, affected, nervous, tired, feeling anguish, fear. We can be there as well, but we shouldn't, for our own good. And also, if we can control ourselves and try to maintain ourselves in peace, we can help others to feel this peace and hope as well. Comments, questions? Yes.
Wow, it's not easy because first just she mentioned about but not infect yourself, and then to spread hope and values peace. Because when you are in constant relation with people around us with negative ways or accusing the destiny about all problems they are going through, and when usually in my life when they look at me and I start to try to talking about the goodness, about Jesus, good words, good attitudes to change the life. Try to spread hope and values. I can hear it's always the same. Oh, for you it's easy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not, because in the end of the conversation, I feel tired, I feel heavy, and usually I need to use the prayer as a tool to feel better. And then when I read things, wow, sounds so nice, but to practice this, it's really hard. But I know every time when you can see the results, someone start to changing, it's very pleasure for us.
Mm-hmm.
But in the middle of this way is work, work, and work again and
Yeah,
again, try again.
absolutely. And it goes with what Orlando is putting here. Is exactly because Joana de Angelis understands the relative impairment that we all have in the moment of, you know, when we are incarnate, not being able to access our previous lives, our previous commitments to this reincarnation. We feel ourselves like we have started as a blank slate, but we have not. We bring you know, the behaviors from the past. We you know, the good and bad, and this is exactly this is why we need to be reminded. So what those spirits are doing, they are not pointing their fingers to us. They are just trying to send messages to remind us, where should we go, what would be the best course of action, what would be, you know, behaviors that would help us to break that chain that has been, hindering us from moving forward or uh, moving at a speed that is going to be more beneficial to us. So their purpose is never to criticize. We don't see here spirits of this nature saying, "Oh, you're a lost cause." We keep on repeating to you those lessons that we should. It shouldn't even be the case because Jesus and others already said that so many times. I mean, this is not their attitude, even because them themselves are not pure spirits. They are still struggling themselves with conquering, things that are already above our level, but it still are things that they have to conquer themselves. So they understand, they sympathize. But like a good parent, they always have to be trying to show the best way, to motivate, to guide, to be firm sometimes in their assertions, just to make sure that we can go and continue in this journey. So she continues saying, everyone reincarnates to progress, indemnify crimes, and free themselves from inferior passions. You are programmed for happiness. To remain inert or advance with decisiveness, stay in deviation or return to the path, persist in apathy or remove it from yourself, accommodate at work or grow with resolve, is a personal responsibility that each one of us must attend to. Perform your work with joy, as inexpressive as it may seem to you. So here, I mean, she's saying what we already know. I mean, we know the purpose of what is the aim of reincarnation: to progress, to make amends, to learn, and to each time more build our future of happiness. But free will, whether you are going to do it or not, move forward or not with that, is absolutely up to you. And this is again what sometimes frustrates us because we uh, still want to blame on others. It's easier. When I do not have the responsibility, uh, it's so much easier, right? So she's saying the important thing here is to move forward. It doesn't matter if we just advance it 1 or 2 inches. It's better than when we were doing before. Accommodating, staying in the same place, or even kind of moving backwards. So here, as inexpressive as it may be, let's celebrate our small victories. It is very important for us to celebrate our small victories, to be sure that however small our contribution may be, it will make a difference, an impact, not only in our lives, but in the lives of others as well. Any anything for the moment? Okay,
It's
let's
so
see.
nice to read your program for the happiness. Then
Yes.
I I believe this is important to remember every day about this. Because
And I
it's
mean,
like something to move on forward.
and I mean, we should even look at ourselves more, uh, make an assessment. We may say, are you happy today? Maybe our answer will be no, not necessarily. But I can guarantee you that I was much unhappier yesterday. Today, things are still not the way I would like them to be, but I have peace, I have understanding. I know that it depends on me, that if I keep up the good work, uh, sooner than I anticipate, the sun is going to shine. You see, so even when we may admit that life is far from being the ideal that we imagine, even considering our more materialistic point of view, we have to admit that so many other things that that before would represent very serious aggravations, or for whatever reason we would be losing control and etc. Today we can look at them with different eyes, with a bit more peace, and that this should be an indication already that we are progressing and that things are getting better, and only it'll get better from there on. um, to get into to resort to hypnotism, like Orlando puts here, to know better about our previous lives. Uh, Orlando, it's very hard. There is a whole chapter that talks about the reason of forgetfulness of the past. Uh, for the majority of us, it is still difficult for us to deal with our past of this incarnation. I don't know many people that could come and say, I have nothing that I regret in my past that I wouldn't have done differently. Good for you, for all of you, if that is the case. Okay. Uh, Things that you, thank God, now understand that it's in the past. Let us learn from our mistake and build a different one. So basically, what the spirits tell us, that for us to dwell in the past, especially in the level of involvement that we are, it's not going to do us any good. And we don't need to know details of our past to see who we are today. Who we are today is what we are in the past, were in the past, only worse. If you are impatient today, be sure that you were even more impatient in the previous life. If you have prejudices today, this is a result of prejudices that you had in the past, even worse. If you have like a damaging still personality, if you are inclined to certain deviations of the soul and of the body, it was there stronger than it is today. So if we have a tendency of, bringing ourselves to feel guilty for things that we are doing today, that even as a rule, a little better than it was in the past. Imagine if we have the access of this to all of this information. And there is always one thing that I like people to remember. Would you like to know what you were in the past? I guess all of us would like us to know what we were in the past. Not the bad things that we did. But you see, since God is love, is justice, is mercy, God is not going to give only us the ability to see in the past. It's going to give everyone. And if there are things that I want to hide from myself, I don't want other people to remember that or to know that or keeping on pointing fingers. So they will say, "Oh, you are the ones that used to be burning supposed witches at stake, and now you are all spiritists here? Oh, I remember you killing Muslims during the Crusades, and now you wanted to preach against criminality. You know, it's not a good formula. It is not a good formula. So let's be content with not remembering and others not remembering as well, because if people have a tendency of labeling you for a behavior that you used to have during, high school, or or even before that, and they do not forget, like, oh, his uh, nickname is Skipper because he used to skip whatever, and keeps on calling you Skipper when you are already 70 or 80 years old. Imagine if they could remember us from other lives. So let's be content with all that. The grandiose factory has small pieces and equipment that is responsible for security. The formidable dam depends on the labor of the humble worker as much as in the technical team that conceived it. The ones who attempted to disturb your work are indirect stimuli to your dedication. Persist and advance, despite the unwillingness, misunderstanding, and amalgamation of spiritual pettiness from those who are with you. And Joanna de Angelis is good in everything. So she's saying, those people that are trying to take you out of, the righteous path, they are actually helping you. They are giving you an opportunity of exercising your persistence, right? So, yeah. So here she's saying, if you fail, if you go after their inclinations, desires, advices, it's because you have not persisted. And then she says, today, as you have a better understanding, you comprehend that you have already navigated through those impervious paths. But since you aspired for higher goals, you advanced fighting. They, too, will free themselves of the conjecture in which for now they struggle. So it's what we know and we understand of the law of progress, of reincarnation. Very much like ourselves, they were in this situation as well. We were in this situation as well. And they will, like ourselves, advance as well. So is everything, everyone is going to mature, spiritually speaking. It's just a matter of time. And it's just a matter of us getting tired of suffering, of going against the flow. It will come a time that we will say, enough is enough. Like Sonia said, we're not saying that it's easy. It's very, very hard, but it is still better than keeping on repeating behaviors that keep on leading us to very bad results. So this is what Joanna de Angelis is trying to tell us here. Uh, Worry about yourselves without, you know, helping and worrying about your brothers and sisters, but do not let them uh, put you or stop your progress.
Usada,
Yes.
when I look at her picture, she is a very, very beautiful woman. And I wonder how uh, her aspect of love, did that create a conflict or what in her life?
No, because we have pictures from her from other incarnations, and she has been a beautiful woman in many of them, but it never got in the way of, because of her moral ascendancy, people would always respect her.
Finally, I just want to say thank you for your open mind, which you always demonstrate in your answers, and write that book, like I told you.
Thank you, Orlando. Marlene would like to say something. Andrea, anyone, or is everyone good?
Every day is a new beginning, a new opportunity.
Exactly, exactly. That's so true. I mean, sometimes it's so simple, right, for us to think about it, but we don't live like this. Okay, whatever was in yesterday, today is a new one, and I can do better, right?
We can try.
Yeah.
Excuse the parrot.
Ah, no problem. He wants to participate as well. Okay, if you don't have anything else, we can go to our final prayer. Do we have anyone that would be willing to do it for us?